I can see Felicia Spencer smiling because that punch gets her every time. Fee, how are you?
Doing great. It sure does get me every time. That's a
Every
great promo we got.
I know every time I want to change it. I want to like add a new song to it or something, but like, how can we get away from that just iconic moment? We got the old school backgrounds. We're doing it. This is like 2020 all over again right now.
Please no.
Oh my goodness. Well, UFC 275 was crazy. You got your lock pick, Brendan Allen. You're like, it's incredible. Whatever you say is the lock pick of UFC Austin. I'm taking my girls 401k, putting it all in. You're just on fire. The underdog pick, we got to get it. It feels like we had a good run. We were almost there to 500. Now it's like win one, lose one, win one, lose one. We're trying to get there, but
Yeah,
I'm excited. I love it how it's out of Vegas. UFC Austin. Austin's a really cool town. It's a really cool fight card. It's deep. And then after seeing, you want a champion retiring, and now the Cowboys on this card, it's almost like you gotta really appreciate these moments. You never know when the last one is going to happen.
for sure. Yeah, the Cowboy and Joe Lozon fight is up there on like the interest level, and just this might be the last time for both of them. You never know. Like
Oh.
I never thought, I honestly wouldn't have expected Joe to come back. It's been so long, or has it been long? I feel like it's been a long time.
No,
I
it's
don't
been
even
like
remember the
20
last
months.
time.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
So
He's doing a lot of commentary. He's doing a lot of coaching. He says like he loves the being around the game, kind of a little bit like yourself. But he says, yeah, he doesn't want to fight all the time. And when they brought Cowboy to his table, he's like, oh, I kind
yeah,
of like that. He kind of
yeah,
got up for that fight.
it
So
makes sense. Yeah,
you know, but
it's a
yeah,
cool.
you never know. You never know. Like that Joanna Whaley was the number one contendership. And, I know Joanna's been a little less inactive over the last couple of years as well, but you just never know that, like, wow, that kind of came out of nowhere. It felt like, I was like, oh man, that hurt.
Oh yeah. I mean, it makes sense. She
It
probably
does.
sees it as um, her chance of getting back to a title shot because in her eyes, she sees Wiley as being the champion.
Yes.
She's getting
Yeah.
the title shot. She probably thinks that Wiley's gonna beat Carla.
Yeah.
She'll be champion, and to get a number three when you've lost twice to the champion, that's hard. I mean, Max is doing it, but that's special, special circumstances. So she knows the road back to a title shot is really, really long, and she doesn't want to go through all that. So, it kind of makes
It,
sense to me.
it does. It does. And she's like,
But
hey,
yeah,
I'm 35.
definitely, definitely a surprise.
Other stuff that wants to do in her career. She said something about a family. So yeah, it made perfect sense. But
I
one of
mean, I
the
don't think she
greatest
would have done
fighters.
it had she won the fight, obviously, but
I know
you
it is
know.
kind of funny. It's if she won, she fights Carla in October. She's like, let's go. The baby can wait.
Yeah.
But crazy. All right, let's get into UFC Austin. A very deep card, a lot of fights, a lot of young talent. I think we almost say this every fight night. I'm becoming more into the fight nights than the pay-per-views. The pay-per-views are great. That show in Singapore was amazing. But I love these fight night cards. It's a lot of growth, a lot of building, seeing a lot of people grow up, like right in front of our eyes, like Phil Hawes, Danny Chavez is an underdog. The main event's incredible with Calvin Kattar and Josh Emmett. But let's go with your absolute. Let's go with your phenomenal pick. Let's go with it. Let's kind of keep the momentum going. Let's nail this underdog on UFC Austin.
All right. So yeah, my pick, I know it's been a little wishy-washy, but hey, that's the nature of the game. So I think I've picked him before, and I've picked against him once before, corrected that mistake. So I'm going to go with Julian Marquez.
Okay.
He's an underdog. When I saw him as an underdog, I was like, I got a good feeling. I've watched the fight, for a few years, and I think he's got a great skill set. He's got a good mindset. I sat near him at one of the events in Jacksonville, so we got the good vibe. No, I really am high on Julian Marquez. So yeah, he's fighting RoboCop.
Yeah.
Dangerous fight. Obviously, I understand why he's the underdog in that fight, but I think he's well rounded enough to get it done.
It's a really good fight. It really is a good fight. RoboCop, I think he's won 2 or maybe 3 in a row in the UFC. But I kind of looked into it. He was outside the UFC. He was finishing people right and left. I think it's been 3 straight decisions for him. It's almost been 2 of the 3 have been like wars. And Julian Marquez can throw bombs literally in the 3rd round. So I don't know. I kind of like the underdog pick. I think Julian Marquez is a little bit more seasoned. especially in the UFC. And I think he's been, I think he's kind of ready for a nice little rise into the ranking. So I like that pick. I'm with you 100% with that pick. So boom, you got the Dave stamp of approval. Let's go with the lock. You're incredible. I got to look up the record right now. I think it's like 17-3 or 16-3. It's a really damn great record. Who's your lock? Who's your absolute lock for UFC Austin?
All right, I got a feeling that you're with me on this one. So
okay.
I'm going with Kevin Holland. All right.
Okay.
So
Love
yeah,
Kevin Holland.
Had the ups and downs. I think a lot of people are still pretty down, even though he is the favorite, slight favorite in this match against Tim Means. I really still see high, bright future, and I think his striking is still just something that's a little different than most other people. So it's a little bit of a different puzzle for Tim to try to crack. Tim's been on a roll too, and he's been fighting forever. So it's kind of tough to pick against him. But I'm going with Kevin Holland this time.
Okay, I'm so on board on this pick, and I have a couple reasons behind it. For one, 2 years ago when Kevin Holland was kind of the fighter of the year, that's the year he went 4-0, had really good wins, and a lot of middleweight wins. Then he fought Marvin Vettori and Derek Brunson, who over their last 10, 12 fights in the middleweight division, fighting top 10 guys, their record's 10-2. These are two of the top studs in the world. They only lose to literally Izzy Adesanya. And this is at middleweight. So now Kevin Holland is doing phenomenal, I think, at middleweight. And in those fights, he wasn't getting stopped. He was just getting controlled, because maybe a huge reason is the weight. These guys are 210, 205, coming down to 185. And now Kevin Holland's a welterweight. He's a real natural welterweight. So he fought one, I think he fought Alex Oliveira off the top of my head, I think, as the 170, won that fight. I love Kevin Holland as welterweight. I think he's a real contender, and I can see him going on a 3, 4, 5 fight win streak. So there you go. I 1,000% agree. I'm a big Kevin Holland guy.
Yeah. Everything you said, true. And it's not even like they were submitting him. Like you said, they were just controlling him, and he's gone on it seems like he's gone on a path of learning wrestling defense, and did the grappling match. He lost it, but he's going against a grappler, in a grappling match. So just stepping outside of his comfort zone like that is a huge deal for an athlete to do. So
absolutely love it. He's testing himself, and especially in those kind of in a grappling event, it's only that time is to get you better for the UFC as their profession, as something that he's doing for his career. And it's just unbelievable. Right now, the NBA Finals is going on, and the team, whoever wins the championship, has already lost 2 or 3 times in this series. And it's so wild how a UFC fighter can lose once or twice, and so many of the fans can discredit them. It's you're allowed to lose. You're allowed to grow and get better as a fighter. Maybe it is a weight class. Maybe it's a bad day. Maybe it's an injury. There's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes. And I just think Kevin Holland has won 5 out of his last 7 UFC fights. And 2 of them, like I said, it's the Derek Brunson and Marvin Vettori, 2 top 5 middleweights. So I think people are too hard on Kevin Holland. I don't want to defend him. He doesn't need me to defend Kevin Holland, but I think people are too hard on him. So
a little bit, yeah. He carries himself with so much confidence, and he talks. He plays the game before the fight, so it's easy to hate on someone when they play that game and then they lose. That's kind of the roll of dice that you take when you play the game.
True. Okay, we had a great conversation so far. 2 great picks: Joey Marquez, Kevin Holland. Those are 2 really veteran names in the UFC. 2 guys that have won inside that octagon multiple times. We talked a little bit about at the beginning, Cowboy and Joe Lozano. I want to go there, and also the main event. I love this main event. This could be for the next featherweight contender to fight Max Holloway or Alexander Volkanovski. Let's kind of hit on Cowboy and Joe Lozano. Which way are you leaning? Are you kind of rooting for both guys because they're both veterans? Where are you at on that fight?
Yeah, kind of rooting for both. I don't know. I feel like I would like to see Joe get another win, but I don't know if he would be able to. If the striking of Cowboy, I don't know. I feel like on the ground, Joe might have a little bit of an advantage, but really Cowboy does have great groundwork.
Yeah, he does.
I feel like on the feet, maybe a little bit to an advantage of Cowboy, but man, it's tough. They both really, I would love to see both of them win. It's one of those situations for sure. So I wanted to stay away from it.
And it's almost one of those fights, Fia. I don't know if you feel the same way. Cowboy feels like he loves to be in wars. It's just it's very, he loves to put that on the mantle, right? And and these guys have so long in their career. I kind of don't want them to go through a war. Like I don't like. I want them to both be happy outside this fight, and I kind of hope it's a really good back and forth, maybe a really good grappling match, and one guy catches the other guy in a slick submission. They both look at each other, smile, and handshake. Like I respect both these guys so much, and they've done so much for mixed martial arts. Like I don't want these guys in wars at this age. I don't.
No, I don't either. Yeah, I want a technical, really fun technical match, and then someone gets caught in a sub, and it's so.
All right. So that's me being nice. Now I'm going to be a little bit me. I want a major knockout in the main event. We got Calvin Kattar, Josh Emmett. These guys throw heavy bombs. These guys are ultra violent. I want a knockout. Where are you leaning on this fight? Josh Emmett's a plus 190 underdog, which is higher than I thought. I thought the line would be closer, and I'm thinking just Milo take. I was leaning Calvin Kattar, but betting wise, I think I'm leaning Josh Emmett because he's that high of an underdog. Where are you leaning on this fight?
Man, it's so boring. The same. Like I would lean Calvin, but it's so hard. Like Josh Emmett is just always someone I feel like this like we I don't know if we think of him as like a gatekeeper or like what, because he's not a gatekeeper, but
not at all.
No one ever really, I don't know, I never really look at his name and I'm like, oh, he's that's the champion, but he really has the championship qualities in his fighting, like he's got the stand up, he's a vicious fighter. He easily could be champion. It's just it's easy to overlook him, I guess. I don't know why. It's hard to say. Maybe just Calvin is just, tell me why. Why? Help me.
Josh Emmett's 17-2. He's got one of his losses is a split decision, and that other loss was against Jeremy Stevens in that main event. I don't know if you remember. He kind of like got caught behind the head, a little bit of a legal shot, and then he kind of got knocked out. And Jeremy Stevens, who's a natural born killer as well, put him out.
That was in Orlando, right?
Yeah, in Orlando.
Yeah,
I was there for that.
Yeah.
I just think, and I've talked to Josh multiple times. I think he's a good guy. He's very clean looking. He with like the bald head. He's kind of like very unassuming. He doesn't talk any shit. Like he's just very quiet. Kind of goes under the radar. Puts up great fights. And that division, with the Korean Zombie and Calvin Kattar and Max Holloway and Volkanovski, like Brian Ortega and Yair Rodriguez. Like there's a lot of flash. There's a lot of names. There's a lot of glamour. And I think Josh Emmett's like I'm going to bring my lunch pail to work. I just think he's just that normal.
Exactly. He looks like the guy that's working with your brother, I don't know. But vicious though. I love watching him fight.
Me too.
For all those reasons. Yeah.
Me too. So wow, we're
kind of rooting for the underdog. It's like if no one expects you to win, I kind of want you to win.
Yeah, and I don't know why. Like when I saw the line, and I like Calvin Kattar a lot too. I think he's actually kind of underrated. That loss to Max Holloway was such a bad loss, and it was on ABC, and it was the main event, and he got hit so many times, so like so many people talked about it, and it was kind of like one of those. It was one loss, but it counted for like 3 or 4. It seemed like it was so negative towards his career. And Calvin Kattar is one of those guys too. I think he's like 7 out of his last 9 in the UFC. It's a really good fight. Like it's a really, really good fight. I think both guys are underrated, but I would think Josh Emmett's a little more underrated at plus 190. So I like that a lot. But all right, Felicia Spencer's underdog pick, Juan Marquez. Your lock, Kevin Holland, the Trailblazer, big mouth Kevin Holland. These are great picks, V. I like it. I'm into it.
Got a good feeling.
There we go. Anything else? Anything on the outside? How's are you still grappling a little bit with Miss Hannah Goldie in Orlando? Is that going well?
Well, I helped out Hannah last week, and I'm going to try to help her out a few times over camp. If I can get once a week over there to just do a little bit of drilling with her. Just have another body. So try to help out my team at the Jungle, and just using my time to try to help other people when I can.
Look at that. You're the 2022 Robin Hood, Felicia Spencer.
If I can survive it, I don't know. No.
Oh, my God. I can't wait for that fight. Hannah Goldie, Molly McCann in London in July. I'm so excited. Fee, thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time. This should be a great card this weekend. We're going to get 2 wins, and then we'll talk to you next week.
I'm excited about next week, too. Can't wait to talk about that one.
Whoa. What's next? Is next week the pay-per-view?
No, it's not a pay-per-view. I don't even remember the main event because it's not names that a lot of people know. But when I looked down the card, I was like, this is actually really interesting. Some of these fights, like we keep saying about every fight night.
Yeah, the main event is Gamot versus Circadian.
Yes. Yeah.
Good.
So one that is hard to remember for the main event, but I remember the guys. It's hard to remember the names sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking down the card, there's a lot of people that I'm interested in on that one. But we can't talk about it right now. It's next week.
All right, next week. We'll talk to you guys next week. Appreciate it.